Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Elombah television tonight. The topic we are discussing tonight is Anambra 2021, a close look at PDP Governorship Aspirants. Our chief discussant today is Mr. Chima Christian. Mr. Chima, you are welcome to our program tonight.
Good evening, and thanks for having me on your program.
Mr. Chima, do we have the names of the aspirants that have picked up nomination forms on the platform of the PDP? Do you have their names, please?
Yes, I do. You've spoken to something I wanted to preface my interventions with. I had wanted to make it known to our audience, our respected audience, and your audience, that I have a friend and a sister who is running for the same post. So in the name of fairness and full disclosure, I would like to make that known. However, I've committed to you prior to this meeting that I'll have other platforms to root for my favorite aspirants, but I will not take advantage of the platform where my neutrality is demanded to launch a campaign of calumny against anybody or to water down anybody. So I assure you and your audience of my fairness in this regard. So I will try to the best of my ability to stick to that which I am known for. You asked questions about the names of the aspirants. So I have it in no particular order. Honorable Engineer Chris Azubogu, Chief Emeka Etiaba SAN, Lady Barrister Chidi Nemelope, Dr. Ife Di Okonna, Honorable Chuma Nzeribe, Chief John Madafkwa, Godwin Ezemo, Valentine Ozibo, VCO, Senator Ugochukwuba, Dr. Winston Ude, Walter Okeke, Dr. Godwin Maduka, Senator Uche Ekunife, Dr. Obiora Okonkwo, Honorable Genevieve Ekochi, and Honorable Tony Mwe. Again, this list is in no particular order.
Thank you very much for undertaking to give a fair analysis to all our candidates tonight, despite your obvious interest in one of the candidates. So, thank you very much, Chima. Let's now go into the main topic for tonight. We are looking at the candidates. We are presenting all of them one by one to give each candidate a fair opportunity to use our medium, several media, both social media and our website, to present each candidate for Anambrarians to know them, identify them, and know something about them. The first person we are calling on is Honorable Engineer Chris Azubogu. Chima, what do you have to tell us about this gentleman?
Well, Chris Azubogu has distinguished himself in not just Nnewi North South Ekwusigo Federal Constituency, but Chris Azubogu is now almost a household name in Anambra State.
So in terms of name recognition, in terms of our first criteria, name recognition, Chris passes, isn't it?
Yes, Chris has that name recognition all over Anambra State and beyond because of his superlative performance at the Green Chambers. He is down doing his third term, but he is largely the most visible House of Rep member in Anambra State.
All right. What do we know about his personality, educational background, political background, and everything?
I think Chris went to the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, to study agricultural engineering, and then he graduated and moved into business. He was in ICT for a number of years. He consulted for Anambra State government. I think he was very much instrumental in the harmonization of a civil service database and the elimination of ghost workers from the Anambra State payroll. So Chris Azubogu has done quite well educationally. He has also done quite well business-wise. He has also contributed his quota in trying to clean up Anambra State civil service. Now he's serving as a third-term lawmaker representing Nnewi North Ekwusigo and Nnewi South Federal Constituency. So yes, Chris has acquitted himself creditably.
Is Chris Azubogu a Catholic or a Protestant? Is he Anglican or Catholic? Sorry, we have to mention this thing because in Anambra State, take it or leave it, your church plays a role in how people perceive you. Unfortunately, that is the way it is, so we have to say it.
Well, I feel quite uncomfortable discussing this, but to answer your
question, is he an Anglican or a Catholic?
He is a knight of the Anglican Church.
Thank you. So is he popular? In terms of popularity, how do we rate Honorable Chris Azubog?
Well, there are few people in Anambra State today that will not tell you that will tell you that they've not had the name Chris Azubog. And at the any mention of his name, Chris Azubog, there is only one thing they say, Mr. Project. He has endeared himself to the hearts and masses of Anambra people based off on the strength of the project he's been able to attract as a three-term lawmaker in Anambra State. He has done roads, he has done a lot of community projects, and a lot of including I think he is here, and I think his people are here on the platform, so they were able to mention their specific projects. But yes, Mr. Chris is quite popular in Anambra State, and once you call his name, people will tell you he is Mr. Project.
One thing everybody will agree with Anambra State is that your pocket plays a very big role. Your bank balance. So would you say that Chris has the billions needed to run successfully prosecute a governorship election in Anambra State?
Well, Elombah, I don't know what you've heard from other people or what people say at their campaign stomping grounds. But if anybody tells you today that he has the money to make himself the governor of Anambra State, tell him I said he's lying. Nobody in Anambra State, regardless of how rich you are or how rich you want the people to perceive you to be, you cannot make yourself the governor of Anambra State.
But so even if you don't have the money, you must be able to attract billionaires. So for Anambra State are so many billionaires, and many of them are political. They always support one candidate on the other.
Elections everywhere in the UK, where you are in the United States, are capital intensive. And so if you must become a governor here in Anambra State, it must be by collegiate effort.
So will Chris be able to attract those billions, those necessary funding? What do you think?
Chris has run successful elections. That is in his state. Chris has run for Federal House of Reps for 3 times, and he's been able to muster the kind of resources needed to execute those elections. So if in terms of campaign financing, Chris is not a newbie. I am not aware that, I don't know his bank.
What about stakeholders? What about stakeholder support, PDP stakeholders? Do you think they will support him?
Well, if you're talking about billionaires in Anambra State, just look at the 3 local government spaces presented. Look at Ekusigo, look at Nnewi North, and look at Nnewi South. Just in these 3 local governments alone, you can begin to talk about the billionaires in those 3 local governments. So if Chris has not been able to get their support, I am not sure he would have been doing have won 3 consecutive elections in that federal constituency. So yes, I believe that he is doing his assignments with those people.
Let's talk about image and discipline now. What image does Chris have in the mind? If you mention Chris, what immediately will come to the mind of the average Anambrarian? His image.
Well, Chris is seen as someone who has the energy to get the work done, and he's seen as someone who has compassion to get the work done.
Does he have any scandal to his? Does he have any scandal to his name?
Scandal?
Yes.
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. I've had people say, "Oh, he's a merry man. Oh, he's funny. Oh, he's very wise." Yes, I will agree to that part of that. That he's a very shrewd person. That he is wise. And
look at your chat. Please look at your chat room. Chat. Are you able to do so?
Yes, I can. Yes, I have.
What do you have to say to that comment? You can ignore it if you want. You may ignore it. You may say no comment, we pass on. But if you choose to, we would like to hear your opinion.
Oh, I will not want to delve into the personal affairs of
okay.
These,
all right. Our last question on Chris will be: how do you rate his chances in the level of 1 to 10? What are Chris' chances of winning PDP primaries?
PDP primaries is open to contest, and Chris is one of the top contenders. So if you ask me to rate on the scale of 0 to 10, I'll rate Chris somewhere in between 7 and 9.
Wow. I'm sure Ikechukwu Emeka Onye will be happy to hear that. Ikechukwu, how do you rate Chris? We know you are a Chris man, but you can unmute yourself. How do you rate Chris chances on a scale of 1 to 10?
Thank you, Elombah.
No, just say that. No comment. Just how do you rate his chances?
I'll go with Chima, but I'll increase to 10. 10 to 10. 10
okay. Okay. All right. All right. Someone is asking whether we have representatives of the appearance. Yes, we sent invitation to all the aspirants and all their representatives. So we hope they are here tonight, because towards the end of the program, we'll also like to hear from them. So if any candidate does not have his rep or personally, well, the person will have himself to blame. We move to Chief Emeka Etiabasan. Do you have anything to tell us about him, Chima?
Well, Emeka is one of the, I think, about 4 or 5 senior advocates of Nigeria we have from Just Mary. And one of that rank is an elitist rank in the Nigerian law profession. I think he has done well to earn that. Etiaba is also a known person in Anambra State, quite strictly because of the mother, who was at some point the deputy governor of Anambra State, and for a while, I think 3 months into regnum, the governor of Anambra State, the first female governor of Anambra State. So Emeka was quite instrumental in the running of governments during his mom's era. And after that, he has continued to carry on quite well, doing his law profession, his business profession. So the Etiabas are known in Anambra State.
All right, remembering our criteria. The first item we have to weigh Etiaba on name recognition. How do you rate his name recognition in Anambra State?
Well, beyond his family name, which is the general Etiaba story that some people know, Emeka has not been quite grounded locally in local politics. But again, because the mom's name is easily recognizable, and because he has done so well in the law profession as a senior advocate of Nigeria, and again, he was in government, might not be officially appointed in government, but he was very instrumental in the 4 or 3 months.
Has Emeka Etiaba held any public post? Do you know?
If he has, I am not aware of that.
All right. What
again,
church?
I'll say I don't have his complete CV. The
What
Etiabas
church?
I know are Anglicans. The Etiabas I know are Anglicans. If Emeka is not an Anglican, but I know that the mom and the Etiaba family are Anglicans.
Popularity in Anambra State. How popular is Emeka?
Etiaba will not be said to be so popular in Anambra State, but again, he will not be said to be an unknown entity in Anambra State. I've mentioned that he was government.
Someone had just posted on our chat room that Emeka is unknown. Will you agree?
Well, unknown is relative. If the person
Yes.
says he has not heard of the Etiabas,
Yes.
perhaps maybe I don't know where he has been hiding himself. But again, in the political circle, remember Etiaba has not been in partisan politics. If he has been, he has not been that prominent in partisan politics. But Etiaba is quite a recognizable. So if say Emeka is not quite popular, relative to Chris and others, perhaps yes, but he is not an unknown entity.
All right. We agree that money plays a role. You should either have it in your bank, or you must be able to attract funding. How would you say, is Emeka a billionaire?
If he is, he has not told me, and he has not told the public. Again, you know, one thing with many people is that they can have billions in their account and still wear bedroom slippers to functions. So if that is the case, I don't know. But again, I know that he's a practicing lawyer, and he has had several high-profile clients, and he has been instrumental in several high-profile business dealings. So whether or not he has the money in his bank account, I don't know. But whether or not he has clients or he has network and associates he can reach out to, people who might invest in his candidacy if they see it as a viable option, I believe he has those contacts.
How long has Emeka been in PDP? We forgot to ask that with Azobago, but we know he's been in PDP for some time. How long has Emeka been in PDP? Do you know? When did he join?
Well, I don't know when he joined, but I do know that the Etiabas used to be ABGA, especially when the mom was in government. And then if he had joined the PDP, I don't know at what point he did. Let me not say specifically because I don't know.
because we also would like to tell the public whether he joined the PDP only simply to contest these governorship election like some people will do, whether he had belonged to APGA before and then this year he jumped. So we would like to know that as well. I think we'll get that information later. Or if there is any person in the public that knows, you can put that in the chat box, and we'll thank you very much. How is Emeka's relationship with the major stakeholders in PDP?
Well, you see, Anambra is quite a small place, and then we all know each other. The major stakeholders you reference know each other. They do business with each other. They belong to the super elite of the society. They attend weddings, funerals. So yes, he is well known to these elites. But again, being well known to the elites is different from having them sponsor you or fund your elections. These people see elections. I think you mentioned this in your intervention last week, that for some people it seems that these elections are business opportunities for them, and that they sponsor candidates and do it as business. So I don't entirely agree to that. When you talk about resources to fund elections, you must be able to convince them that your candidacy one is to you. You must be able to convince them that you have stand a chance to win before they put down money for you.
Okay, youth support. We don't know his age. We invited them to send their CVs, but very few people did send their CVs. So we cannot do for him what we did for Azobok to display his CV for people to see. We don't know his age. Will he be able to get the support of the youth? What do you think?
What I do know about him is that he's not an old man. When he was born, I can't tell you, but I do know that he's very young and energetic. I think he's somewhere in between 50 and 60. I think closer to 50, and his active looks are deceptive.
What is his image? How will, if you mention Emeka Etiaba now, what image will come into people's mind in Anambra State? Image
depending
and
on
discipline.
Depending on the people you ask. If you ask those who know him while he was in government, if you ask those who know him as a lawyer, if you ask those who know him as a village person, as a man, so depending on who you ask these questions, the answers will vary. But I do know that I've not heard of any scandal. If there are, I don't know of them. But I generally see him as that he has the tables are quite new. And
someone posted on our chat room, Emeka has benefited from the party without making any meaningful contribution. He has paid hugely for legal services. I think the poster will have to give us the evidence for that, but I happen to know he has been in the legal team of some political candidates going to election tribunals and so on, but I wouldn't know exactly for how much he was paid, and we are not sure here how long he has stayed in PDP to be able to have that necessary relationship that will make the PDP stakeholders to have him as his candidate. So how do we rate his chances now? Between 1 to 10.
And 10, 1 to 10.
Yeah.
I think it's less than 5. Because I've also listened to and talked to people around. I think his chances, without demeaning what he's
because you rate him less than 5, we would like to hear from any supporter of Emeka Etiaba in the audience. You can raise your hand because we have rated him less than 5. We would like to hear from any rep for Emeka Etiaba in the audience. If you are, you can raise up your hand and I will call you to speak on behalf of your man. If not, we go to the next aspirant. I'm sure we invited him or his rep. The next aspirant on our list is Lady Barrister Chidi Onyemelukwe. You can still mention your, disclaimer now before speaking on this aspirant, Chima.
Yes, let me once again restate what I've stated earlier, that I have a dog, and that dog happens to be my friend, a very good friend of mine, Lady Chidi Onyemelukwe, who I now support to clinch the party's tickets. So yes, so she's my friend, and then that is in the open.
Okay, tell us about what you know about Lady Onyemelukwe, please.
Using the 10 criteria, starting from the first one, the
Yeah, starting from the
popularity.
first criteria, yes. Name recognition.
Well, having name recognition, the Chidi Onyemelukwe was the deputy governorship candidate of our party in 2017 Dubai elections. So that helped her a lot in terms of image and name recognition. Prior to that, she has served Olusegun Obasanjo's government as a special assistant on SMEs. Also, she has also served as executive chairman of as the board chairman, Federal Housing Authority in Abuja. Again, she has not been very visible in the media. She has not invested much in media-wise. So you would say that she's not that much known, apart from the fact that
That is what I wanted to. That is what I wanted to say, because I remember when we mentioned this name in my discussion with you, I was like, "Who is this lady?" And then you reminded me,
yes,
he was the deputy to. He was running mate to Obaze, isn't it? Yeah. So it then came back to me. So why has your candidate chosen not to be visible in the media?
Well, these things are down to personal choices. There are people who want to publicity. There are people who want to just live their quiet lives. There are people who want to do a lot of things. For instance, you've not talked about philanthropy now, but in your last program, the last edition of this program, you mentioned philanthropy and all of those things as a criteria, major criteria for someone claiming his party's or her party's ticket. So I know that she's a philanthropist, but you will not hear it anywhere. You will not see it on the pages of the newspaper. I know that she ran the Father's Foundation, which is a Kweme Foundation that has been instrumental in the education of thousands and thousands of youth. But you will not see any, not even one social media post on that. So I think it's a personal choice that some people have decided to live their lives in the public domain, and there are people who have decided to live their lives very privately. But now that she's running for office, she will have to pay for that her limited visibility by not having that easy name recognition, outside of the fact that she's Alex Ekweme's daughter. And by the way, Alex is well venerated in the PDP, especially Anambra PDP.
Okay, like you rightly pointed out in our previous program last week, we emphasized the importance of philanthropy. Every Igbo man, not just Anambra, believes that if you have money and you are not using it to benefit your fellow human being, that something may be, people will not be happy with you. So I think we should still go back later on to rate our previous candidates as to that level, how much they have helped their fellow human beings. Is Lady Onyemelukwe, is she a Pentecostal? Is she a Catholic, or belongs to the Anglican faith?
Lady Chidi Onyemelukwe is a lady of the Anglican Church, married to a knight of the Anglican Church.
All right. Popularity still goes back to what we were saying before. I think you've mentioned, how popular is she in the state?
Well, the beauty of this thing is that she transfers the 21 local government areas to campaign with the same local by 2017. And then again, she joined Peter Obi in the 2019 campaign to become the vice presidential candidate of the party. So she also toured the 21 LGAs with Margaret Peter Obi. Because of that, and because I've also been on the campaign trail, while she is not very, very popular in the strictest, in the white definition of the word popular, she is now known, or when you call her name, people remember her face from the previous campaign.
Does Lady Onyemelukwe have the billions to contest for Anambra governorship post?
Well, I don't know how deep her pocket is. She has not shown me her bank account, despite the fact that we are friends. Just like you, Elombah, have not shown me your bank account, despite the fact that we are friends. But again, I do know that she's Alex Ekweme's daughter. I also know that she's married to.
Even if she doesn't have the billions, do you think she will be able to attract stakeholder support? Because in Anambra, that is very, very, very important. Stakeholder support.
Yes, and that is the thing going for her, that what she lacks in popularity, she seems to be compensating hugely in stakeholder support. Because some of them say nice things about the father. They say, "Oh, your father was kind to me. Oh, your father did this to me," and therefore it's time for us to return
So
the favor.
you are telling us that she will have the support of the elites?
Well, it will come down to the night of the elections, okay? But again, what I can say to you is that because the father's goodwill has accrued, and she may benefit from the
But
goodwill and the kindness.
she is the person running and not her father.
Yes, she is the person running, but mind you that as chairman of the FHA, she acquitted herself credibly. As the special assistant to Olusegun Obasanjo, she was instrumental to the formation of what we now call SMIDAN, that has helped thousands and thousands of small, medium-scale enterprises.
Okay, what about her image? What is her image? What is her image in the eyes of the public? If we mention her name, what will come to people's mind? Does she have any scandal to her name?
They say she's a kind. No, not at all. Not at all. If there is someone that is very clean in the PDP that doesn't have scandal or any of those things like that, it will be Lady.
Okay, she has no scandal. Someone has confirmed from in the chat room that she has no scandal. All right, Chima, we will not ask you to rate Lady
like that because
we will not ask you to rate Lady Onyemerikwe. Let's invite someone to rate her for us. Ikechukwu Emeka Onya, please. Can you come to the rescue? Are you still here? Has he left? Ikechukwu, can you? Is she here with us? No. Oh, I think she has left. So who will rate Lady Onyemerikwe for us? Okay, okay, I didn't see you before. Sir Augustine Ike Doji, you are here. Thank you very much. So please rate, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please rate Lady Onyemerikwe for us. On the scales of 1 to 10, her chances of clinching PDP ticket.
I was not raising my hand to rate my wife because Onyemerikwe is our wife.
We don't know that
you're... She will say that I will not eat again. You know? He was talking about the scandal to her name. I said, of course, there is no scandal, except the fact that he is working for her and he's analyzing other candidates. I think that's the only scandal so far. You know?
Okay, no wahala. Okay, but see, rate her for us. See, rate her for us on the scale of 1 to 10. What are her chances?
In the scale of 1 to 10,
yes.
What are her chances
of picking the PDP ticket?
I'll give her 5. I will give her 5.
5. Someone in our chat room says she rates her 3 to 4.
No, I give her 5.
Okay, you give her 5.
The reason why I give her 5 is that maybe when there is conflict, it is easy that the whole contestant may decide to settle in for her.
Okay, Lady Adadi Orama, Lady.
When there is so much tie in the primary or tension, they might all decide to put down for her as a rallying point.
All right. Okay, thank you, Lady Adadi Orama, please. Okay.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. All I just wanted to say, as per my chat, was that as you started initially, Elombah, you seem to have forgotten that there are about 2 women or 2 ladies who are contesting. So I did put my views or my thoughts on the chat.
No, we have all the names of the aspirants, including the ladies. We will come to them one by one. So will you please rate? Like, do you know anything about Lady Onyemerikwe? Can you rate her chances for us?
Frankly, I'm not quite familiar with her, I must
say. All right. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to our next. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's go to the next aspirant. Dr. Ifedi Okwenna. Mr. Chima, how do you, what can you tell us about Dr. Okwenna?
Well, of all the aspirants running for office, and this is a very subjective view, Ifedi seems to be the one that has shared the most ideas on how to govern Anambra State. Ifedi shares practical ideas down to earth policy tidbits, not what he would do alone, but how he would do it. And these policy documents, I have studied them and they connect. So Ifedi is quite an intellectual, and Ifedi has restricted himself to campaigning with substance, and I'll give it to him. He is doing a great job with that. Having said that, Ifedi served P2B's government as the Commissioner for Environment, and during that period, he saw to it that a lot of the solid waste issues we had in Anambra State were quite tackled, but not fully solved, and as we can see. But he contributed immensely to the success of P2B's administration. And because P2B administration, depending on who you ask, but I think the consensus is that he is easily the best governor to have governed Anambra State up to this point. Perhaps the person who will come in 2021 will do better than him, but up to this point, he is the best governor who has governed the state. And someone who has served in his cabinet also, I assume, will have that same high rating.
All right, so let's assess Dr. Okwenna on our 10 on the 10 points we have identified. Name recognition. Well,
Ifedi is not that well known as a commissioner for in P2B's government. P2B was the sole star of his government. P2B was the Messi of his government. P2B was the C. Ronaldo of his government. Because of that, he had a name that was larger than that of the commissioners. A lot of people you ask, including the political elite, will have difficulties remembering the names of P2B's commissioners. And that is also what Ifedi is suffering from. Outside of the fact that he served P2B's government and other good things he has done with his life, he has not particularly carved a niche for him, politically speaking. But again, I've told you that this man shares ideas and practicable ideas. So I commend him for that. But in name recognition, I don't think he has much of that to him.
Okay, in Anambra State, the church where you they go is very important. Is Dr. Okwenna an Anglican, Catholic, or a Pentecostal?
Well, I do not know that about him. I don't have that personal this thing with him to know his church. So I apologize if I don't have answers.
Anybody in the audience can help us here, please. You can put that in the chat room if you want to, so that we'll find out and present to our viewers his religious denomination. Before then, popularity. How popular is Dr. Okwenna? Yes. Go ahead.
Dr. Okwenna, that's quite popular in Anambra politics. He is known as someone who is very intelligent. He is known as someone who is very articulate.
But it's not popular.
It's not popular.
Is he a philanthropist?
Because he's not popular, I will not know. I have not been. I know he's from Mary South, but
exactly. Where is it? I didn't ask the other people, the other guys where they come from, because maybe because it's a mistake, maybe because I know, but at least our listeners should be able to know. Honorable Chris Azubog is from where, please?
From Umudim, Mary local government.
So he's from Anambra South. Okay. Then the next person.
Emeka Ichaba is also from the same Umudim with Chris Azubog in the same Nnewi local government, Anambra South, Nigeria zone of Anambra.
All right.
State.
Lady Onyemekwe
was born to an Oku father, and let's say, but married to a Nnewi man. So also Urumba and then Nnewi local government, both in Anambra South, Nigeria zone.
Okay, Dr. Ifedi Okwenna now. Where is he from? Where is he from?
He is from Osumeni in Anambra, Nnewi South local government of Anambra South Nigeria zone.
Okay. Then is he a billionaire? Money. is also important in Anambra politics?
Well, I don't think he is. But again, having served as a commissioner, although
Commissioner no go give you money.
yes, yes, yes. So what I do want to say with that is that I expect that he has networks and he has associates that he can leverage on to muster and mobilize the kind of resources you need to contest meaningfully in Anambra elections.
So obviously, money may be a problem for him.
I don't think so.
Does he have the support of the PDP stakeholders then?
If anybody tells you that he has the support of PDP stakeholders, tell him, okay, let's see on the day of the election. These things can only be determined on the day of the election because anybody you go to his or her house will tell you Ijebego, Ijebego, Ijebego. The only time you know whether you are Ijebego or not for real is when the votes are counted.
Okay, elites and youth support?
Yes, I've told you that he discussed ideas, and because of that, he is easily accepted in that way, good governance sector. But whether or not that relates to the people in the street, I don't know.
Someone has just told us on the chat room that Lady Onyemelekwe is from Nnewi because we paid her full bride price. So don't tell us that she's from Oko Abeg. We don't want to hear about Oko. She's from Nnewi.
Oh,
All right. Sorry?
The brother is free to air his opinion.
Okay. Now, what image and discipline, Dr. Ife Dokwenna, if we hear his name, does he have any scandal to his name?
No, Ifedi is seen as a highly disciplined fellow. Highly disciplined fellow. And that is Ifedi.
Okay, so how do we rate his chances in the scales of 1 to 10?
In the scale of 1 to 10, Ifedi, although he discussed ideas, but his chances are somewhere between 3 and 4.
Wow, someone said 3 and 4 in the chat room automatically, just like you. Someone agrees with you. And because we are rating him less than 5. Yeah, go ahead, say something.
Because I told you I'll be fair in your program, we've now discussed about 4 aspirants, and then I want to believe that
people are agreeing with the opinion. And because we've rated him less than 5, do we have any representative of Dr. Okwenna here to speak up on behalf of his man? You can raise up your hand. And then we hear from you. Otherwise, we move to our next aspirant, Honorable Chima Nzeribe. What do you know about Honorable Nzeribe? Chima, please.
Well, there are a few people in Anambra State who have not had the name, who will say that they've not had the name Chima Nzeribe. Chima is known in the political circle right from 1998, 1999, 2003, 2007, and he has been very visible on Anambra politics to date. And so, yes, he has that name recognition. What I can't speak to is whether that name recognition is popularity or notoriety. So these two are different things, and they speak to 2 different values.
Someone is asking on the forum whether Chima is running. Well, the answer is yes. I think his picture is here, isn't it? So if he speaks, sorry?
I'll run at some point in my life. So if the person is speaking for
so if he speaks, anyone you see the picture here, he's running, apart from Chima Christian, who will run in the future, but not now. Okay, well, church, is he an Anglican, Catholic, or Protestant, or Pentecostal?
That I don't know about him.
We don't know. Now we come to popularity. Well, you have mentioned about it. His popularity depends on. Let us merge the two together. That image, discipline, and popularity. Now, what do we know about Chima? Does he have a scandal to his name?
Well, I don't see him as a particularly very, very, we all have histories, and the good thing with politics and the days of the internet is that what we do are out there in the public. Again, people who want to prepare or run for public office in the future at some point in their lives should begin from Kado to keep that profile. The profile of Honorable Chima Zeribe, with due respect, doesn't seem to fit into that good governance mode that Anambra yearns for at this moment of our life.
Is it the same Zeribe that was the head of security during the period of Dr. Chinwokembeneju as governor? Is it the same Chima Zeribe?
Well, his profile is out there in the public.
Is it the same Chima Zeribe? It's a sincere question.
Yes, is the answer to your
Okay,
question.
Okay. He was a rep at some point, House of Representative, a very good friend of Bankole when Bankole was the speaker.
Bimbeji, yes, also yes to that.
In that case, from what I know of Chuma, he doesn't have a good image. In my own mind, which is subjective, he has some stories go with him. Someone have just told us on the chat room that scandals are all around him. As the head of security in Anambra State, there were some particularly dark episodes, especially concerning the then head of Nigerian Bar Association on Nature Branch, Igwe. The story around Igwe and Chuma doesn't gel very well. So
yes, I agree with that. Chuma has some stories that are not so salutary. Again, some of those cases remain unresolved. But in terms of public perception, remember we are talking about public perception. It's only the law courts, competent courts, that can ascribe criminality to someone. But in terms of public perception, I tell you that there is a lot of work to be done.
Okay, so in spite of his scandals, in spite of everything, let's simply rate him on his chances on the scales of 1 to 10.
It's somewhere in between 2 and 3. It's less
Wow.
than 3 actually.
2 and 3.
Yes.
Is there anyone in the audience that can speak up for Honorable Chuma Zeribe? Okay. Someone named Chuma is right in the audience. I don't know whether it's the Chuma we are discussing. Please unmute yourself, sir.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. You are welcome to speak.
How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir.
I heard some of your comments. I'm never upset when I hear negative comments, especially for people who don't know. About the last speaker, I got no scandal or security advisor, and that was perhaps the most successful department in the Dr. Mbadinuju's government. You had peace, unlike what you have now. That is one. Number two, I was not even the security advisor. Nobody arrested me, nobody questioned me, because the facts are known to the officials that I was not even the security advisor. Nobody mentioned my name anywhere. So go to those who investigated the case. I still remember Tunde, who retired as Ogunshaki, who retired as AIG, was one in the team. You got a host of them. But people keep making very, very lousy comments about those tenor, ascribing to you all kinds of things. I'm not bothered by that. After being security advisor, I have run 3 elections successfully. These issues come up, these issues are treated. For those who want to know, it might surprise you, when Igwe was killed, I was even out of the country. I was not even the security advisor anymore. And all those facts are known to the authorities. So people should stop making. I decided to respond to this. Because people just keep making statements they don't know much about. I don't discuss security matters openly this way. But I think while I was security advisor now, the difference is very crystal clear. So
I thank you very much, sir. We have other candidates who are here, but normally in this program, we don't allow them to speak much. But since you are here, and because this issue we are raised, we will give you the full opportunity to speak as much as you want. No, we will give you full opportunity to speak as much as you want because of the negative comments that have been made here. Now, my question will be, why, in your opinion, why has the
why has what? Hello? Hello? I'm not hearing.
Mr. Elombah, if you can hear us, I think your audio
Yes, I'm
is
hearing
out.
you.
We can't.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Yes, I can hear you now.
You can hear me now. All right. My question will be, in your own understanding, why have the authorities failed to solve these issues? I'm not trying to, that is just, why have authorities failed to disclose, for instance, the public, this Igwe issue? Why have the authorities failed to clear it all these years? What, in your opinion, what do you think? Why have they failed?
I wasn't tasked with the responsibility of investigating the murder of the Igwes. Some people were tasked with that. That was the police. I'm also aware. I'm aware that about 4 or 5 people were charged to court then.
Okay.
In Anambra State, and the records are there. Since you operate in the public domain, you could ask for the records and not make complimentary comments about people without foundation.
Okay. Before this program, we asked for the people's CV. Unfortunately, we didn't have yours. I understand you are from Anambra, South Ayala. So what do you think are your chances in this governorship election? If you can quickly say that, and then you are free to go. If you choose not to speak, we are still fine. Hello, sir. You are still muted.
Yeah, you people are those that mute and unmute. So.
But I can hear you now.
So ask me, say, what are my chances in this election?
Yes, sir.
I guess you are not a PDP person, are you?
No, I don't belong to any political party, fortunately or unfortunately.
Good. The PDP primaries are for PDP delegates. The delegates who know who are the party men among us. The delegates have also had the manifesto of all the aspirants, and they're assessing them. And I believe that the delegates are the only people who can make judgment.
That's correct.
About this chances. Media speculations is neither here nor there. It does help from purposes of informing the electorate, but the ultimate obligation to vote is that of PDP delegates. We are not into general election.
That's correct. Okay.
Generally, we have a program. I've been able to make sure I reach as many of the proposed delegates or prospective delegates of the PDP. And we are in the conversation, and it's an ongoing process.
Okay, we thank you very much, sir, for being with us tonight, Honorable Chima, and we appreciate your comments to this program. Thank you very much, sir. All right. Okay, our next candidate we got to assess is Chief John Madu Afokwa. Chima, what do you know about him?
Well, a Google search on Madu Afokwa John returns nothing. Interestingly, I have been to his house once during one of the condolence visits I went to the mother Fokwas. Outside of that, I know he has been in business almost all his life. I also know that the mother Fokwas are quite popular family in Ihiala, and they are quite noted for their intellect. They are also noted for their resources. So yes, he is John Mada Fokwa, and then he is running for office.
Name recognition?
At my own level in the PDP, and I don't ascribe all knowledge. I don't ascribe all knowledge to myself, but I am struggling to come up with his CV. I am struggling to tell you who he is. If I see him in public, I will have difficulties pointing him out to you. So if at my level of playing in the PDP, he is this unknown to me, I then begin to extrapolate how it is to the wider audience and to the larger PDP family.
All right. So does he have any church advantage then?
I think the mother Fokwas are Catholics, except if he is not, but the mother Fokwas I know are Catholics. So whether or not that confers an advantage to him is what I can't speak to.
Is he a billionaire? Does he have, because in Anambra, we agree that money plays a very, very big role, whether we like it or not. So does he have the money to finance his election?
Yes, I have mentioned to you today that nobody has in Anambra today can make himself governor off the strength of his money alone. Anybody who will become governor will be from a collegiate effort. But again, I understand that your question is that you have to make the move, get the thing rolling before others come in with their resources. So yes, John has enough resources to make that initial move before he now musters his friends, his associates, his family to help with the journey.
So how do we rate his chances? Personally, because before this program, I have not had this name until I started investigating, researching for this program. So how do we rate his chances of picking up the PDP ticket in the scale of 1 to 10?
Except miracles, I believe in miracles, but except miracles happen, I see his chances as a little bit two.
A little bit what?
Less than 2.
So people agree with you. Some people say 2, people say 1 in the chat room. Okay, there are people. Let's see whether these guys raising their hand agree or disagree. Joachi, Prof. J, what do you think? You are raising up your hand. Was it about this rating?
Yeah.
Because that's, sorry?
Good evening, everyone. I think Chief Johnny, I agree with the discussant, Chima Christian, less than 2%. And at the same time, the last time I met with him, I think I met with him about a few weeks ago, and he was telling me about him trying to raise some fund for his campaign, that he was trying to gather some persons for fundraising. So if he has the billions, I don't think so. And if he has the connect for the billions, I don't also think so, because if he has, he will not be complaining about fund.
If he's still crying for funds at this stage, I don't know. Okay, Tim, can you unmute yourself? Thank you very much, Joachi. Thank you for your contribution. Tim, please.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity once again. What I want to say about Madu Afokwa is basically about his own popularity. He is one of the few I struggled for hours trying to raise just his photo from any source, and I could. I spent there are about 3 of them like that I basically called all avenues. I searched Google, I searched Facebook.
All right, so basically he's generally unknown. All right, thank you very much. The next person on our list is Godwin Ezemo. Chima, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. What do you know about Godwin Ezemo?
Well, Ezemo is quite known in Anambra State. One, because he has run for office for quite a number of times. Again, he ran on the platform of, I think, PPA, where he solely funded that party in Anambra State. And because of that, he registered his presence in Anambra State politics. He joined the PDP, I think, a little bit after 2017 elections. So yes, Ezemo was a candidate of a party in 2017. Before that, he has also run for office. Ezemo is a real estate agent mogul. He has lived a significant part of his life in London, but he has been here for quite a while, I think in excess of 10 to 12 years. Ezemo has diverse business interests, especially in the media. He owns a radio station. He owns also a newspaper that was a weekly newspaper and now a daily newspaper, although you will say national newspaper in Anambra State. So yes, Ezemo is recognized, easily recognized in Anambra State. The name.
Okay, where is he from? What part of Anambra State is he from?
Ezemo is from Umuchu, I believe. I think in Aguata local government area of Anambra State. Yes.
All right. He has contested election for quite some time in Anambra State, but was it in PDP or in APGA?
This is the first time he's running under the platform of the PDP. For all the previous times he's tried this elective office before, he's done that with PPA, which is now, I understand, the registered. INEC the party from the party. So he is in PDP. He has not run in PDP to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, do we know his church affiliation?
I don't know his church affiliation.
Okay. Does anybody know in the audience? We don't know.
Oh,
Is
someone said Anglican.
Anglican. Well, we always come back to money. Is a Godwin Ezemo a billionaire or a thousandaire like us?
Depending on what currency you're counting. If you're counting in naira, counting in pounds, depending on you count US dollars, or are you counting in Bitcoin? So what currency are you counting?
In naira, is Ezemo a billionaire or a thousandaire?
Well, Ezemo is a billionaire. Ezemo is he is very, very deeply invested in the process. So he knows who to talk to and where to go to. Ezemo is a self-funder. He has self-funded a lot of his campaigns. Whether or not that has depleted his war chest, we don't know. But yes, Ezemo is seen as someone who has the means to kickstart the process.
Does he have the support of Anambra PDP stakeholders? Do you know?
He has not been in PDP.
Yes. Go ahead.
There is this antagonism, and then Honorable Chima made mention of that. There is this antagonism I see in PDP. They don't really welcome someone who has not been in the PDP for a long, long time. They welcome you to join the party, but they want you to stick around and contribute your own quota to the success of the party. Again, some of these party delegates have been in the party, some for 10 years, some for 15 years, some for a little longer than that. So some of these relationships are formed over time. So if you just come into the PDP, yes, you begin to form new relationships. But again, for old time's sake, there are some of the things that Comrade in Arms do that you may not benefit from. So yes, he's been in the political circle, but he's been outside of the PDP orbit. Whether or not we are yet to see. Until the election results are announced, we don't know who will win.
Okay, in terms of popularity, both within the party and outside the party, how popular is he? Is he a philanthropist or?
Well, he goes by the name Anambra. I want to believe that name is earned. Anambra means someone who does a lot of things to a lot of people. I want to believe that name is earned. Again, he is an employer of labor, both in his known businesses and the ones that we may not know of. I think he has done a lot of charitable deeds in times past. Whether or not those charitable deeds are politically motivated, we don't know. But again, we know that we have seen several benefactors of this philanthropy.
Our inside person in the chat room have told us that he's a well-known philanthropist. But will he have the elite and youth support?
Well, that is left to be seen, because he is not particularly seen as someone who is sound. You remember his performance in the 2017 Guba debates. That Guba debate was, I think, his highest exposure media-wise to the Anambra. And so that unimpressive performance has stuck in the minds of people, including these analysts here. So that again, it is left to be seen how it will clear, or he will clear it. And again, knowing that he is an owner of business and media houses, he is not a particularly media-friendly person. He rarely grants in media interviews. He rarely appears and makes coherent views on national issues, perhaps outside of the press releases we see from his media.
He worked with P2B, isn't he? He worked with P2B, right?
If he did, I don't know. In his government?
Yeah, did he? Okay, he didn't. No? Okay.
I'm not sure he did.
Okay, in terms of image and perception, does he have a scandal to his name?
I don't think he has a scandal to his name. He doesn't have a scandal to his name. Outside of the fact that once you run once, twice, thrice, and you don't win, people now begin to see you as what they call in their parlance recurrent decimal. So they call you sometimes customer. So yes, he has run for this office severally, that he's now earned the moniker customer or recurring factor in every number of elections. But again,
so in the scales of 1 to 10 now, how do we rate his chances of picking the PDP ticket?
It is 4.5.
Someone in the audience said 2 to 3. So you said 4.5. Meanwhile, I've just gotten a message that with regards to Honorable Chima Zeribe, what did you rate him again?
I said 4. Oh, Chima?
Chima Zeribe, you rated it 4.
No, not up to 4. I said 2 and 3 or so.
Okay, someone have said that don't rate him anything less than 6, that you may disregard him at your own peril. Because in terms of, I think, because what you said that PDP tends to look at outsiders with suspicion. But if someone has stayed with them for a long time, you have that kind of affinity with the delegates and so on. So Sir Augustine Ike Doji is telling me that don't rate Honorable Zeribe at anything less than 6. Well, we are only saying what we were.
Yeah. I partly understand the sentiment. I understand the sentiment because some of these delegates he has known personally, some of them know him personally. So some of these personal considerations are what goes in the mind of people when they are about to cast their votes. So whether or not to translate to a win, we don't know. But from public perception and from the way we see it, my rating stands. Again, I am not discounting the fact that he has friends in PDP that are now delegates of the party.
Yeah, so let me also point out one thing. If you note, we are leaving out our criteria number 10. We are leaving it at the final stage, which is what are the chances of any of these aspirants winning the general election if their party wins? And so we'll treat that one at the end of the program, so that PDP will be careful when they're choosing their candidates, because they wouldn't want to choose someone who will lose at the end. Our next candidate we'll look at is Valentine Ozigbo. What do you have to tell us about him?
Valentine Ozigbo is an accomplished businessman. He has been a banker, and from that he was I think the executive of what's forgotten what his portfolio is, but he was sitting at the top leadership of Transcorp Hotels, and he was also part of Health Holdings at some point. So as a businessman, he's accomplished, and then he has his nice profile and CV cut out there. He has, I think, 2 degrees, and then 1 from Lancaster University. I think 3 degrees actually. So I have spoken with him. He seems nice and smooth sailing. And then for a newcomer, he's doing exceedingly well. out of all the newcomers, because this will be, to the best of my knowledge, his first foray into partisan politics. And for a newbie, oh, he was the president and CEO of Transcorp, I've been reminded. For a newbie, his election is doing quite well. He has hired competent hands around him, people who are managing his profile, his speeches. And by the way, he's a sound intellectual. And what he's doing with his campaign is exactly the same thing he did with Transcorp. Excellence is what you see all around him. The only negative thing there is that he's new to the party.
Well, in terms of media, if media will decide who will win this election, I think Valentine Ozugbo will be up there. He has a very, like you said, he has very competent hands around him. He doesn't joke with the media, and he's very responsive.
Not just the media, not just his person, the people managing his diary, they are quite up to speed. They know the birthdays of everyone. He attends events, especially because you know that Valentine was also a socialite. So I understand that you see him on every funeral, you see him in every birthday, you see him. So yes, the people who are managing his scheduling and things, he has competent people all around him, not just the media, but every facet of this election. And even the people who are becoming likely DGs in his campaign are people who are very nuanced in the knowledge of politics, and they have been giving him unvarnished counsel, and he has been wise enough and adopt those counsels. So yes, Val is doing well for a newcomer. So well.
Okay. Okay, so in terms of name recognition, he's doing good, isn't it?
Investment in media. Yes, Val has been in the field for some time and his name is all over the place. I tell this Val is doing well, and I quite like his approach to the campaign.
Church advantage.
Val is a Catholic. That is all I can say about.
Popularity in Anambra State. Is he a philanthropist?
Yes, Val runs his VCO, Valentine Chineto Ozugbo Foundation. He also has done his work for health. He has also done a number of programs, even before now, and I think 2 years ago or so. He has been in the philanthropy, has been instrumental in funding a lot of small-scale medium enterprises. And then he's been also hugely invested in the development of our sports sector, trying to harness young people at that very age who might be in the business of sports to do that. So yes, Val can be said to be a philanthropist.
Is he a billionaire?
If he's not, he knows those who are.
That's a very good one. Someone said because of his position as former MD of Transcorp. So, in fact, the first time I met Val was actually at Transcorp. And so if you've been, that is, it gives him a very good connection to a lot of people, doesn't it?
It does, and not only that, you've seen the way he's carried out his campaign. I mean, you know the cost of media investment, you know these things. And so for that kind of media presence and mileage, you now begin to add 1+1 and begin to see the kind of resources he has spent so far into the campaign. So campaign financing is sure not a problem for him.
Someone have just posted that Val's popularity is online and not on the ground. Would you agree?
Well, I don't want to agree with that because Val is using, to the best of my knowledge, a dual track approach. While he's doing his thing with the media, he's also on ground. Hardly will you have any function, low-level functions in Anambra State, people don't. And you know, for some of these delegates, there's only little thing to their mind. They said, oh, he came when I buried my mom. Oh, he called me when I lost my sister. And Val has that personal touch. And
yeah, Val does that. And Val is approachable. He picks your call. He calls you back. He speaks with you.
Freely, and he has that energy. So that is working well for him for far into the election.
All right. So, but will he have stakeholder support? Is he a core PDP man?
Well, because he joined the party a little bit recently, he is not seen to be. But again, remember that this is his first foray into partisan politics. So it's a good morning for him. He has never been in any other political party. PDP is his first choice, but he is still a newcomer relative to those who were there in 98, in 2007, and in 2003. He is new to the party. So yes, he's trying to do his assignment, and let's give him time and see from the results of the primary election what he can make out with the little time.
But I think even if he's not been a party man, does he have a good, I think he has a good relationship with the PDP stakeholders. I think he has been contributing money to the finances of PDP and the candidates for some time now. So, do you have any information on that?
Well, if he has, him is that he has skills. He has soft skills and personal skills. Perhaps those are those skills that stood him out in the banking sector. And again, those are skills that might have contributed to his success at Transcorp. And those are the same skills he's bringing into partisan politics. And yes, there are friends you don't need to know for too long, but they feel like brothers. That is that kind of thing you have with Val. So yes, Val is considerably doing a lot of investment in people relationships. And whether or not he will reap the fruits of those investments now or at some point in the future is what I don't know. But Val is investing in.
Someone said in the audience that Val have been financing the PDP party since 2018 till date. So what is his image and discipline in the eyes of Anambrarian? If you mention Val Ozigbo, what image will come to people's mind in Anambra State? Does he have any scandal to his name?
No, not at all. Val has carried himself quite well in these few months that he's been around publicly in the public domain. And in terms of the public political domain, he's been a public figure since. But now that he's in the public, he's carried himself quite considerably well. And then throughout his days at the hospitality industry and throughout his days at the banking sector, all we hear about him I have not heard even a whiff of people who have negative things to say about Valentine.
So, on the scales of 1 to 10, what are his chances of picking the PDP ticket?
Val stands there between 7 and 9.
That's a very, very high rating. Some people are saying 9 in the audience, but we won't call them unless they will declare their relationship to Val. Let's see. Ibetu, Sir Ike Dodge, are you there? Can you unmute yourself? How do you rate? Sorry, I failed to pick up your hand. I didn't see it on time when we were speaking of Chima, but how do you rate the chances of Val picking the PDP ticket? We're not hearing you, Ike.
Okay, fine. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I have rated Chima. You read my comments. Then as of Val, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
The issue.
Oh, your network is not the best at this point.
Is that I was thinking. Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
I was thinking that Val will have been a very good candidate in Anambra, not in PDP, because there is another policy required to pick up PDP tickets. Because PDP ticket is fought and taken.
Oh, your network is.
There is a little violence.
Your network is. Yeah, your network is not. It's not very good.
I will chat.
Okay. That's very well. Ikem Ibodike, please. Sir Ikem Ibodike, how will you rate Val?
Well, for me, if PDP wants to win the election, they should consider Chris Azubog and Val Ozigbo.
We have not come to. We will come to that item 10 towards the end of the program. So, but we thank you all the same. We will come to that. That is our item 10. But thank you. Okay, let's move on. Okay, Sen Ike, are you raising up your hand to rate Val? Because that is the only thing we will countenance at this point. Sen Ike, can you unmute yourself? Just to rate Val and move on, please. Okay, our next aspirant is Senator Ugochukwu Ubah. I forgot to mention one thing when we are discussing Emeka Etiaba, because we mentioned it last time when we were discussing Ben Etiaba. Ben Etiaba is Emeka Etiaba's brother. Ben Etiaba is aspiring to pick up the ticket on the in APC, and Emeka Etiaba is aspiring to pick up the ticket in PDP. I don't know, but let's go on anyway. We passed that, but I just remembered. Now I just remember it because we are now in the turn of Senator Ugochukwu Ubah now, and we noted last week that Senator Andy Ubah is aspiring to pick the ticket in APC, and Senator Ugochukwu Ubah is aspiring to pick the ticket in PDP. Is that a disadvantage to any of them? What do you think?
Well, I think it would have been nice for them to go and have an in-house meeting. If they can't convince their sibling to support their aspiration, it then speaks to how they will be able to convince the larger public to support their aspiration. But if you look at the flip side of it, is that they're in two different political parties. So they are trying to put their eggs in different baskets. So
okay. You can now take your time to tell us what we know about Senator Ugochukwu Ubah. What do you know about him?
Well, the Ubahs are known in Anambra State. Senator Ugochukwu Ubah, Senator Andy Ubah, and Eselu Chris Ubah. Their holding sway in Anambra State was at its peak in 1998, 99, 2003, and perhaps some parts of 2007. The Ubahs are particularly known in Anambra State, but again, there are some negative connotations to being an Ubah in that kind of, in the strict sense of the word. They are not known to have contributed immensely to the development of Anambra as a state. They have contributed a lot of things to the development of politics, but whether or not the masses or the state have benefited from their rising profile, both at the national level and at the state level, is yet to be seen. If you go to Oga today, if you go to their part of the town, with the kind of influence and power they've had, I don't think they still do. You would have thought that they would have brought meaningful development to that area, but it seems that their priorities are not quite what you could have expected from, people who are, in this good governance thing. So yes, Ugochukwu Ubah is known, but again, you now have to define whether that is popularity or not, right?
Okay, so in terms of name recognition, he has it.
The Ubahs, yes, the Ubahs. But okay, to be frank, he is the least popular of the Ubahs. You have Andy up there, you have Eselu there. He is the least popular of the Ubahs. But yes, the name recognition is there.
Do we know his religious affiliation?
No, I don't know.
Does anyone in the audience able to help us to tell our listeners whether he's a Catholic? Okay. So Augustine Ike is saying that he's an Anglican.
Yes, I think I see him because I remember the time they did a funeral in their family. I think 2 or 3 years ago. I think I remember it was an Anglican funeral.
Okay. In terms of popularity in Anambra State, well, you've said something about it, isn't it? He may have name recognition, but is he popular?
Well, there is something they ascribe to PDP. There is that thing about brigandage. There is that thing about the era of the ballot box snatching. There is that thing about the era of kidnapping a sitting governor. There is that thing about the era of setting Anambra almost at peace. So that political history is still there. And it has not been erased completely. So whenever you mention some names, there are some connotations that come with it.
All right. Is he a billionaire?
I don't see him as one.
But he may be able to attract some billions because if the other brothers decided to give him billions, he may have it then.
If they see that his chances are there, because his brothers are, with due respect, political
But let's deal
officers.
with this, please, if you don't mind. Why will three brothers? Yeah, one will
Yes.
be a major stakeholder in APC. The other will be a major stakeholder in PDP. And both of them will be, I don't know, how would they be able to support one another? Anyway, let's go on. Will Senator, or do you still want to comment on that?
Yes, I think we will leave it for them to resolve with their family meeting or in their family WhatsApp group. But what I can speak to now is that at some point they were all in PDP. And not only were they all in PDP, they held Anambra State jugglers. And since my estimation, they held Anambra State for far too long. But that time has come, Anambra has gone out of.
So in terms of image and public perception, Senator Gochukuba may not actually score high. Is that what you are saying?
Exactly.
All right. So, but will he have this PDP stakeholder support?
Well, except if PDP wants to return to those old infamous days.
All right. So how do we rate Senator Gochukuba's chances of picking the PDP ticket on the scales of 1 to 10?
I'll pick 1.5.
1.5. My brother Ebuka Onyekwele, do you agree? Can you unmute yourself? My namesake.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Chief, good to see you. Well, the issue with the Oba family, I think most times people speak of the Oba family out of maybe jealousy or misplaced aggression. Because the Oba family, they didn't bequeath political power to themselves. They worked for it. Andy walked his own way, by himself, and he got himself into the presidency. Chris, on the other hand, who more or less can be described as the infant terrible of the family, also walked his own way in his own style. When you look at all the Oba brothers, you see that all of them, they have their own style. They are moving at their own pace. Andy is not controlled by Chris. Chris, on the other hand, is not influenced by Andy. Ugochukwu is a man that is on his own entirely.
So how do you rate his chances of picking the PDP ticket?
Yes, his chances of picking the PDP ticket is almost very, very low. I must admit that. But
right.
It doesn't really yes.
All right. Low. Okay. We will speak on other issues as time progresses. Our time is fast running out. Our next aspirant is Dr. Winston Ude. Can you tell us about Chima?
Dr. Winston Ude is a lawyer, has been living and practicing outside of Nigeria. He's quite an accomplished man. He's from, I've forgotten his place again, but he's from the old Agwata Union.
Is he the guy from Ezinifite? No?
Not from Ezinifite.
Okay.
Someone has
okay. Ndowu. Okay.
Yes. So he is seen as a man with deep means. He's also seen as a man with and he's very humble. That's my perception of him. I've sat down with him. I've had meetings with him. And
what are his academic qualifications? Do you know? Academic qualifications. Do you know?
I don't know, but he is quite.
Okay. Do we know his religious denomination? Chima, you are muted. Okay, Chima is frozen.
Chima, is it working now? You tell me, am I on now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, thank you. Apologies for that. A call came in. So I said he's an Anglican.
It's an Anglican. Is he a billionaire?
He bought 21 Toyota Sienna vehicles for 21 state chapters of the party.
Okay, is he the one? Okay, yeah. He's the one that. Wow. Okay, he's a billionaire. Yes.
So that entry point, well, you're not in his pocket, but again, that entry point has made tongues rolling, and then people now see the man with deep names.
But does he have name recognition in Anambra State?
He's also a new entrant, and I think he tried out his hands in ABGA before joining the PDP. Before, even while he was in ABGA, and now he's in PDP. He's still very a nice person, but he has not done that kind of investment in the media to have a kind of name recognition. Outside of the fact that every PDP function you go to today, you see about 20 vehicles having wasted today and running about town. So yes, that gives him a little bit visibility. Outside of that, he is still an upcoming name. Not upcoming politician, upcoming name.
How long has he been in PDP, do we know?
He's been in PDP for less than a year, or less than a year, because he was in ABGA in 2018. I think he supported in 2017. He funded, and I'm aware that he was part of the people that funded Obiano's re-election campaign. I think he also funded, while he was in the diaspora, the first campaign of Obiano. And then when he came back, he publicly identified with ABGA. But again, not many people know that about him. But he's now in PDP, and he is a new entrant.
So if he's a new entrant, will he be able to have the PDP stakeholders' support?
Well, the thing is, because of the kind of resources available to him and the manner with which he spends it, he is people. I'm not saying that you can buy loyalty of stakeholders, but again, people tend to gravitate to where they think they can profit the more, if you understand what I mean.
So you see a philanthropist. You know, Anambra takes philanthropy very seriously, I must say. So we do.
Well, I think he is, but again, not much publicity has been done to that. But within the PDP fold, they know that each time you sit in meeting with him, that you go home smiling. And then it's interesting that his campaign is Anambra will smile again. I think it's starting from PDP.
I don't think dashing money to PDP is exactly what we take philanthropy to mean in the state.
Well, there you go.
Okay. Image and discipline. Has he held any public office prior to now?
He has not held any public office prior to now, but his image out there for those who have sat in audience with him, even if it's for a minute, is that this guy is highly disciplined, and his humility is most striking and unsettling. He has this that is his humility, and I am not trying to blow this out of proportion. He is humble, and the true meaning of the word humble.
Does anyone in our audience have any information about his academic background? Please, we will appreciate. I wasn't able to get it. If we have his academic background, we would like to know. His academic background?
His academic background is that he is an attorney, and he is a practicing attorney in the United States.
Okay.
So if he's qualified to practice as an attorney there, I want to believe that he completed.
All right. So how do we rate his chances of picking PDP ticket on the scales of 1 to 10?
It is somewhere in between 4.5 and 5.
4.5.
Yes.
Our inside informants say 3 to 4. Saike Doji confirms he's a foreign attorney. Any other person who want to rate him quickly? Sen Ike, are you raising up your hand to rate? Otherwise, we move on. Any other person want to rate him? Honorable Emmanuel said on the scales of, he rated him 2 to 3. Okay, let's go to the next aspirant. Walter Okeke, what do you know about him?
Well, I do know of Ugochukwu Enyoha Okeke, who is my friend, but I'm not sure he picked up nomination and expression of interest form. So
if you're talking of, I think Walter Okeke, because to get this name, we contacted the PDP executive, said, please give us names of aspirants that pick nomination forms, and we are given these names. So I'd like to believe anyone I mentioned here. Yeah, that's what I mean.
So I will sit this one out. I'll wait to be educated by any member of our audience on who Walter is and what he has done.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Walter Obaka Okeke. Anyone want to tell us briefly about him? You can raise up your hand and then we'll call you. You'll mute yourself. David Chideleke, you appear to know something about him. I'm just hearing his name in the course of preparing for this. Ebuka, do you know anything about him? Ebuka Onyekwe, do you know anything about Walter Obaka Okeke? All right, if you don't know anything about him, let's move on then. Dr. Godwin Madoka. Chima, what? Yes.
He's a pain specialist, and he is the owner of Las Vegas Pain Institute in Las Vegas, United States. He is from Omochukwu in, I think, Kurumba, and he's easily recognized by the thing he likes to address himself as the Lion of Africa. He is the brain behind the tallest building I think we have in Anambra State, that is in his hometown in Kerefi, now Omochukwu. He is seen as a billionaire. He is quite known. He runs Dr. Godwin Madoka Foundation. He is seen as someone with deep pockets, but his public discipline he speaks freely, and he seems to be a bit puffed up.
Okay, in terms of, let us do it in an organized manner. So, one, name recognition. Dr. Godwin Madoka, how does he fare in that area?
Yes, because he has invested considerably in philanthropy and in media. Yes, the name is easily recognizable.
Is it just media? Because the first time I went, okay, not the first time, when I went to Umuchukwu about two, he's the guy from Umuchukwu, isn't it?
Yes.
So I think for some years, for the past 10 years or so, Madoka has been really making waves. He's transformed his community and changed the face of that community. In fact, that was how I came to know him. That guy that a doctor from America changed his community, police posts, churches, schools, judges' quarters, police station, courts, roads everywhere. So what does that say about the man?
Well, I have wanted to say earlier before now that philanthropy or being kind-hearted or generous does not mean that you know governance. The thing is this: someone can be a specialist in this aspect of medicine, but a novice in the other aspect of medicine. Philanthropy is good, but it is not governance. So knowledge of governance is critical in the thing we are doing. So that's why we'll give it to him that he's a philanthropist, but he has not displayed any attributes, both in public and in private, that suggests to me that he understands the nuances of governance. At least the basic, he has not displayed that, and I am not quite convinced that he understands the rudiments of governance. He may know how to help people in need, but that doesn't mean that you know how to govern a state like Anambra.
Has he held any public office before now?
He has not held any public office before now, but he has not managed his public image so well. He speaks so freely and so, he doesn't choose his words carefully. He is short-fused. He is a bit arrogant. And then he is, while he claims to have gone to Harvard, speaking with him will not suggest to you that he has neared anything like the university, talk more of Harvard University. But he is a graduate of Harvard.
Okay. Oh, wow. What is a religious affiliation?
Well, I don't know.
Okay. Does anyone know whether he's... Some people say this is not important. I've seen that on the chat room. But my brother, if you understand Anambra politics, you will know that the church where they go is very, very important. If you want, so that's why we have to mention it. It is very, 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 very important. The church you they go. So is Madeka an Anglican? Okay, someone said he's a Catholic. Thank you very much, Ebuka. Popularity, you've touched that. Finance, you've touched that. But will he get the support of Anambra stakeholders? PDP stake. What do you think?
It is difficult. It is difficult. It is almost impossible. Regardless of how hard he tries, it is almost impossible to get the support of our stakeholders because he doesn't rub off well as someone who would be a good governor.
So how do you rate his how do you rate his chances on the scales of 1 to 10?
It is less than 2 despite his huge resources.
Godwin Madeka.
Yes. Yes. And thankfully, this program is recorded. We might come back to it after the election.
Sir Ike Doji, do you agree?
Hello?
Yeah, go on.
Yes, in fact, on this topic, for the first time, I agree with our guest, hook, line, and sinker. Madeka is going head on for a suicide. He has the finance. It's not the first time somebody has come out with so much volume of money in an election. Okay, it has happened in 2014. You can come out with volume of money, but people's perception of you is very terrible. I think he's the number one doctor on pens, and then he decided to be taking the pens drug more than the
on this point, all these things we are hearing about Godwin Madeka, I think it speaks to one thing about when people go into politics. Why wouldn't someone hire a professional to manage your image? Why don't Nigerian politicians do that? Because for someone like him, even before he declared his interest in governorship, he had a very, very, very nice perception. That the first thing you hear about him is what he did for his people. So going with an image maker, someone who will tell him this is what to say, this is where to go, this is how to manage yourself, he would have done better, wouldn't he? Chima, wouldn't you agree?
Hello, Dan.
Yes. Okay, so Ike Doji, go on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Okay. Yes, go. Ike, go on.
You know, somebody could be good in some good as a financier. So, hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yep.
I said, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
He is good as a financier, but not to come and contest himself. He's a good man, but let him just be at the back seat and finance people and continue his philanthropy. He must not be a governor, but he should not be given a leadership position. That would be terrible.
Okay. That's
yeah.
And Chima, you agree? Ebuka, quickly, do you agree with Chima and Ike? Quickly.
Yes, I do, obviously. Dr. Madeka is, in fact, the most disorganized public office seeker that I've seen, in recent times. Most disorganized.
Wow.
I think it is going to be a very terrible thing. In fact, the mere fact that he's even having the courage to publicly declare that he's running for governor, he shouldn't even be heard.
All right.
Just go back to
okay. Senator Uche Ekwunife is the next aspirant we want to talk on. Chima.
Senator Uche Ekwunife is well known to Anambra. In fact, she is called Uche in Anambra. Uche has worked so hard for her name, and Uche's foray into politics started quite on a very terrible and shaky footing, but she has done so well to have endeared herself to the hearts of the masses. And he has also represented her people well when she was at the Green Chambers, and she has also done well at the Red Chambers. In fact, you had to take the whole political machinery of governance to stop Uche from winning the 2013 ABGA primaries. Uche is a strong contender in this space. Uche has the energy of 10 men, and then Uche is a political bulldozer. It's left to be seen who goes her way into government house.
So name recognition, I'm sure anyone will know Eyom.
Yes.
All right. Is her religious affiliation?
Uche is a Roman Catholic, practicing Roman Catholic.
His popularity in Anambra State and with the party colleagues, how popular is Uche?
Uche mixes her popularity with notoriety because Uche is short-fused. Uche speaks freely. Uche does not carry herself with the dignity and decorum at times. Despite her gorgeous dressing, when she is upset, she makes you visibly known that she's upset, regardless of the situation and the people around. I'm concerned that she seems to be quite, I like her energy. Nobody else in the PDP, including the men running on this platform, have the energy she has. But sometimes she could be overzealous. Sometimes she could do with a little bit humility that she seems to have in short supply.
Does Uche have the finance to pick the PDP ticket? Money.
Uche has the finance to run for the presidency of Nigeria. If she does not have, she knows where to get it. And she's not shy. She will get it. That is how Uche is. Uche is a go-getter. And once she sets her mind for anything, it will take the elements of the universe to stop her.
Will Uche be able to have the PDP stakeholder support?
Well, Uche has stepped on a lot of toes. And then Uche has a lot of friends in PDP, in Anambra, in APC. Mind you that Uche has had a lot of political history. She's been in PPA, she's been in APTA, she's been in PDP, she's been in APC, back to PDP, so Uche
why would she be jumping from one political party to another? Is that not political prostitution? I apologize for my language.
Well, you should doubly apologize for your language, especially now that we are talking about a female aspirant. So
yes,
that's what could, if it is for a man, then it could be understandable, but for a female, it could be easily misunderstood. But Uche has that drive and force. And the only thing that is driving her is her political ambition. And she doesn't mind doing anything, going anywhere. Even if there is a new political party that will give Uche power today, Uche will still dump the PDP and go for that political power. So Uche's primary interest, what wakes her up in the morning and keeps her up late at night, is her political vision and goal. And
someone said in the chat room that Uche is over-ambitious.
Who are we to limit the ambition of each other? I mean, if she has the energy, let her go for it. I support her 100%. What I do not support is that she can be a bit arrogant. I would advise, if I were close, for her to have a little bit of moderation. But again, anybody can aspire to be anything. And Uche is pointing the light at the darkest places of Anambra political history, and indeed the darkest places of Nigeria's political history. I was just going through Nigeria's constitution bits today, and let me tell you what I found. Quite interesting that the constitution was talking about the qualification of someone who will become a governor. And I read to you Nigeria's constitution, section 177. Section 177, it says, qualification for election as governor. A person shall be qualified for the election to the office of a governor if A, he is a citizen of Nigeria by birth. B, he has attained the age of 35. C, he is a member of a political party and is sponsored by the political party. And D, he has been educated up to at least secondary school certificate or its equivalent, which suggests to me that they were not thinking the governor could be a she. It is quite interesting to see that in the constitution, and I saw it today, and I'll refer you to that constitution. So Uche is now inspiring a lot of young girls to aspire meaningfully, to be sure that they can aspire to become anything they want to be, including the president of Nigeria yes, Uche is flashing lights in those dark areas. And a lot of people say, can a woman govern Anambra State? I say yes to that question. And I say yes to that question. And for Uche stepping out boldly to lead in that regard, I would say kudos to her. What I will advise is that she tempers her aspirations with a deeply determination and modicum and carry herself with poise and dignity.
Okay. Without taking anything away from what you have said, in the eyes of the law, everybody is a man. But let's proceed.
Oh, okay. I see that. See that.
Okay. That is why if lawyers meet, lawyers will do not say ladies and gentlemen, because every lawyer is a gentleman.
Okay. I quite see that, but now that we're doing this, it would be right that the law sees people as who they are.
Okay, so what about image and discipline? If Anambra State people hear Uche, what image will come to their mind? Public perception.
Someone already told you in the chat room that Uche are called publicly, and I'll leave it at that.
I've met Uche only once, and you are right. She speaks her mind. She says it the way she sees it. She doesn't hold back. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage? Time will tell. So, how do we rate Uche's chances on the scale of 1 to 10, picking the PDP governorship ticket?
It should have been 9. But there are other factors that will bring it down to 4.
2, 4.
Yes. It should have been 9.
Okay. Is anybody raising up his hand? Okay. Is anyone raising up his or her hand to rate Uche for us? Okay, Saike, please.
Well, I don't know the factor that made Chima come down, but I have agreed with him in most of his analysis. But in that of Uche, since I'm directly involved with how things go about in PDP, Uche has everything that it takes to pick that ticket, except if Grace stopped her. You got what I mean?
Yeah.
Uche has everything. If you drop that ticket without interference, without external interference, let them go to the field, each of them. Uche has everything it takes to pick that ticket, except she is stopped by Grace.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
So you score her 9.
I wouldn't know why his own reason, in as much as the gender sensitivity is there because of Anambra religious sensitivity, and then reportedly either nagging attitude, or which I rather see as being too emotional, and that is natural with women. Okay?
All right. Okay. Let's proceed. Okay.
And read the ontology of women. You see.
All right. Sam Ume, you're raising up your hand. Can you unmute yourself? Is Sam Ume here? Ebuka Onyekwela, you're raising up your hand.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with most of the analysis by Chima on Senator Uche Ekunife. But I just want to point something out. Uche is someone that has achieved a lot for herself and at her age. But then we have to also take careful note that this is a male-dominated environment. And I know already. I've been in this argument with a number of people. Most times, people argue that Uche cannot be governed because she's a woman. That Anambra cannot be governed by a woman. And sadly, these are part of the things that will play against her ambitions. But then rating her, I'll rate her maybe on a scale of 5, or on a scale of 10, I'll rate her 5.
All right. Okay, let's proceed. iPhone, please rename your device so that we will see your name. We prefer to call people who when we know their names. The next, so do you want to speak now quickly to rate Uche or mute yourself and then yes, go on. Okay, Chibweze. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So funny enough, I think Uche will get these tickets. I have strong feeling that Uche will get the tickets. Funny enough.
Can you disclose your interest? Are you working for her campaign?
No, I'm actually not working for her campaign, but I'm actually she's my candidate.
Okay, she's your candidate. Okay.
She's my candidate, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's proceed. We'll get to that point towards the end of this program. Our next candidate is aspirant is Dr. Obiora Okonkwo. Chima, quickly. Our time is running. Chima Christian, please. Are you muted?
No, I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Dr. Obiora Okonkwo runs the Dome in Abuja. He is also the honor.
Chima.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your device is saying you are muted. I don't know why. Go ahead. But I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. So I said Obiora is quite popular and the name recognition is there because of huge investments in philanthropy and media exposure. I've said earlier, I don't know whether you got it, that he is the owner of United Airlines. He's also the owner of the Dome in Abuja, and he has a PhD from a Russian university.
Okay, sorry, we forgot something. Senator Uche Kunife, where is he from?
Uche is from Ibuku in Anambra State, married to Anambra South, and married to Anambra Central.
Okay. Dr. Obiora Okonkwo, where is he from?
Obiora is from Ogidi and in Debili of Anambra Central. Obiora is Anambra Central Senatorial Zone.
Coming from Anambra Central, PDP has not approved zoning, I'm aware, but coming from Anambra Central, will it affect Dr. Obiora's chances if PDP wants to win this election?
Well, yes. PDP has not openly said that they are doing zoning. But when you talk to delegates, when you talk to people at the grassroots, when you talk to people, everyday people, you see that there seems to be a consensus amongst these people about the thing about zoning. It's just like the thing you were talking about, the church, where people say, oh no, we shouldn't mention church. I am also of the opinion that we shouldn't mention church. But again, when you talk to people, you see that these things are important to them. So if people say that zoning is important to them and that religion is important to them, the only thing you can do is to dissuade them from that. If you are not successful at that, it will affect your aspirations.
All right. Have we mentioned Dr. Okonkwo's religious affiliation?
Dr. Okonkwo is a Catholic.
Okay. Chim, I don't know why we are not getting your video and whether your device is saying you are muted to me, but we are still hearing your voice. I think it's a network issue. So if it doesn't, let's proceed. So Dr. Okonkwo is a Catholic. How popular? Popularity?
Yeah. Okonkwo's name is easily recognized. Okonkwo is quite popular because of his philanthropy. He is easily a giver. He's trained some people through his foundation, has done a lot of things that give them visibility, both on the media and amongst the local populace. So yes, he's quite popular.
Does he have the finance to prosecute this election?
Yes, he is seen as a billionaire, but I've mentioned to you that anybody who will become the candidate of the PDP will be by collegiate effort, and anybody who will run Anambra State will also be by collegiate effort. So yes, he has money, but his money can pull him through alone. His money will have to be mixed with other things for him to secure a party nomination.
Will he get PDP stakeholder support?
Well, a lot of those stakeholders are thinking about zoning just like the everyday people are thinking about zoning. So how that will play out is what I don't know. But I think that the greatest impediment and challenge to Okonkwo's aspiration is that of senatorial zone that they face. If Obiora is from the south, the equation could have been different. But people say that it is not the turn of the south yet. I don't agree with that, but that is what the people are saying.
What about his image perception in the minds of the public, image and discipline?
The only thing you can say about Dikora is he has attended, he's very, very, media friendly. He has attended quite a lot of symposiums, and you can know what his opinions are on issues. Although he does tell or comment frequently on trending national issues, but again, I've seen him present seminar papers on different issues in discourse. So I know him as an intellectual. I also see that he has substance to him. He's very articulate, but then he could be a bit puffed up, although not to the alarming level of it. But he has carried himself quite well to the best of my knowledge, I think.
So on the scales of 1 to 10, how do you rate his chances of picking the PDP ticket?
4.
4. That's low. For someone like Dr. Obiora Okonkwo, who has been a major player in the party.
Well, the other thing you don't know about him is that he has run for offices before and he has never won one of them. That tells you a lot about
does it matter? So after all, our Buhari ran for, and Donald Trump ran for years and years, and then eventually tried.
Well, there is something called strategy and timing in politics. Those things need to be working.
Exactly. I think with regards to timing, I think the public perception in Anambra State is that Dr. Obiora Okonkwo's timing is wrong because of the zone he comes from. I think I agree with you that generally, I think Anambra people will say, let this thing go to Anambra South now. So timing. Who disagrees with Chima's rating? Do you want to rate him higher than 6? Okay, you rated him 4, right?
Yes.
You rated him 4. That's 4. Who disagrees with this rating? Daniel Young, are you raising up your hand? Can you unmute yourself? Daniel Young, quickly, please. Ebuka, please.
Yes, I will rate Dr. Obiora 6 on a scale of 10. The major reason is that the major reason why he's even at 6 is because he's not from Anambra South. So otherwise, I think he's a very organized, man, and sophisticated, and also has, the courage and also the money, to pursue the election. So, but because he's not from Anambra South, I think that's going to play against him, in a way that won't allow him to, to get the ticket.
All right, thank you. Daniel Young, are you still able to speak? Are you able to unmute yourself? Otherwise, we go to our next aspirant, Honorable Genevieve Ekwechi. I've not had this name before. Chima.
Well, Genevieve Ekwechi has been a cabinet level member. I think she has been a commissioner or something before. Genevieve is one of the 3 female aspirants in the PDP. Genevieve is a known person, women mobilizer. She's not that well polished, but again, I come across the name in 2017 during the 2017 Guba candidate. I think she sees herself as a material that can be deployed in Anambra State. That's how she sees herself. Having discussed with her 1 or 2 times, I think she believes that if there is anything that is good, that it should come to her. She also believes that it's time for women to do 1 or 2 things in politics. regardless of what, either as governor or as deputy governor. So those things are there. Viviane Kochi is not that visible. So in terms of popularity and name recognition, it's not there. But amongst the women in PDP, her name is easily known amongst those women in PDP. And those are the delegates that will run the cast the election.
Okay, what's her religious affiliation?
That I don't know, but I think, and I can't be corrected, that she is an Anglican, but I'm not so sure of that. So
will she be able to attract the finance to prosecute her election?
If she will be able to do so, she has not proven that at this stage of the campaign.
Will she be able to attract PDP stakeholder support?
That is left to be seen. But for my answer, it will be no, because the answer is no.
Popularity? I think you mentioned that.
Yes, I've mentioned that it is not there.
Okay, image and discipline, public perception. Well, if she's not popular, if people doesn't know her name, I don't know how the image issue will now play.
Well, those who know her will know that she's not quite well polished. She's not. You can't say that she's an intellectual. That's what I do know about her. But again, she knows her local politics, and then so her carriage is to the best of her exposure and her, upbringing.
Please, can you confirm again? Has she held public office before?
I think she has. I think she has been a commissioner. I stand to be corrected on that.
Okay. Does anybody have a contrary opinion? Okay, Tim. Tim, are you able to unmute yourself? Sorry, I muted you again. Go ahead.
Sorry, first of all, I need to apologize that I can't use my camera because
go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Quite dark here. Okay, fine. Kochi is one of the 3 persons I couldn't find anything either on the internet. The second person I raised my hand, but I didn't get your attention, was Walter Opanyo Keke. And then she's the 3rd person I searched on the internet, used Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Nothing about her popped up. So that speaks purely about her popularity as well as the other.
So where are her media aids then? If she has the money to pick up PDP nomination form, Atlantis, how many million, Chima?
It's 6 million for women, 5 million for 5 million you pay to the party secretariat, and then the expression of interest form is 1 million. But the nomination form is totally free for women. So everything out of pocket for women who are in this position is 6 million.
And for men?
26 million.
26 million?
Yes. That's what all these 16 people are calling right now.
Okay. So women are getting it.
They just got it for the nomination form. You have to pay the 1 million for expression of interest form. Then you have to pay certainly 5 million to the state secretaries of the party. That's the standard. It's blind, it's gender blind.
Okay. If she can afford 6 million naira for nomination form, why couldn't she afford 100,000 naira or thereabout to pay for the salary of a media aide? Okay, the last but by no means the least. Okay, have you rated Honorable Ekwechi?
1.
1.
Yes, and that one is just being too generous.
Okay, let's proceed. Let's not. Okay, Honorable Tony Moye, because some people would like to speak towards the end of this program. Let's round up the last but by no means the least on our list of people who have picked up PDP nomination forms is Honorable Tony Moye. What do you know about this gentleman?
Honorable Tony Moye stands between popularity and notoriety. That the good thing with Honorable Tony Moye is that he knows people by their names and people know him. He is a hard worker. He works so hard. He wakes up very early in the morning and works so late into the night. He knows how to get to people's house. He is not too big. He is at the grassroots level. He connects with the everyday man. He eats with them. He dines with them. And this is not being political. This is just his lifestyle. So yes, he is well known among these delegates. Mind you that he has been a chairman of the party. He has also been a gubernatorial candidate of the party. And then last election, he has also been a gubernatorial candidate of another party. So for the last 2 elections that we've had in Anambra State, this young man has always won primary elections. So yes, popularity and name recognition is there.
What is his academic background?
Academic background. He graduated, or there are certain arguments about that, but he later graduated and ought to be a medical doctor, but he has been practicing medicine in the field of politics. He has not practiced medicine for a day. He has instead chosen to practice to be a politician, and that has been his thing all through.
There was one argument some years ago about whether he actually graduated from Ebonyi State, or I think Ebonyi State University, or what? Did he?
Yes, that the jury is still out there, but I don't know. Perhaps we should ask INEC what he has been submitting to because he has run for office. He has been a candidate of 2 parties at the same time. So I don't know what he's submitting, whether he's submitting his highest educational qualification, which ought to be that certificate from Ebonyi State University, or whether he's submitting. But I'm aware that there are candidates or aspirants who, when they do know that their certificates will land them in trouble, now opt to go to the lower certificate, which is why. So I don't know what this man has been presenting. But again, there is an argument as to what.
How popular is he in Anambra State?
Quite popular. Nobody can tell you that he doesn't know somewhere. He has been a candidate of APC, and he has been a candidate of PDP.
Is he a philanthropist?
In the book, second. Well, depending on what you mean by philanthropy, but what I do know is that these delegates know him by name. They have his phone number. They call him, he picks up. If he doesn't pick up, he returns their call in 15 minutes or 1 hour. So he has that personal touch to it, and he works hard. And he eats with them, he dines with them, he cries with them. He knows them, he speaks their language. So yes, he's very well known among the people. And he's very popular with the youth.
Does he have the billions to prosecute his election?
At this time, I don't know. What I do know is that he has been able to mobilize support to fund his other aspirations in times past. He mobilized enough resources.
Image and public perception.
Well, remember, there were these things about courtesan that I've had. I'm sure you might have heard it about him. There is also the thing about setting Anambra ablaze at some point. There was something about rascality, about ballot.
Because in that Anambra saga between who was the kidnapped governor again? Ngige. Yeah, Ngige. Ngige and Chris Oba. His name featured prominently in the fracas that ensued during this period.
Yes, and if he did not participate in that, he has not invested considerable amount of energy to push back on those rumors. Perhaps he had allowed it, like one of the contributors to this program have allowed it to lie. But if those things are not true, he has not pushed back with all his energy. But again, I do know that bad news travels faster than good news. But again,
so obviously, Honorable Tony Mwe, while he has gone to the House of Rep, contested several elections, he has an image problem in this state. That much we can agree on. So on the scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate his chances?
It should have been higher, but let me put him at 7 because he has the capacity.
7, right. But he just moved them from APC to PDP.
That man has the capacity to play surprise. He can pull the rug under your feet. In fact, in all these top contenders, the analysis is that the people from the south will split their votes. The people from the central will split their votes. This man is I think he's just the only person, or just 2 people from the north. So he has that number.
Okay, he's from Anambra North, isn't he?
He is from Anambra North. He represented Anambra East and West Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives.
Okay.
And in the past 2 elections, he has successfully won primaries. He won primaries in the PDP. He won primaries in the APC against the favored Anambra.
Okay, our time is almost up. We would like the audience, anyone to speak on this, on our point number 10. Our point number 10, which is, what are the chances of any of these aspirants, if they win their parties, the PDP nomination, what are their chances to win in a general election if PDP will consider that before deciding on their candidate? We will invite not just you. You can start speaking, but if any other person raises up his hand, okay, we have Lawrence Onuchukwu, please. All these candidates we have, if they win their party's ticket, who has the best chance of winning in a general election? Lawrence Onuchukwu. Please unmute yourself.
Am I on now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Honorable Lawrence Onuchukwu, gladly watching you from Abuja. I just want to make an observation. Politics is a game of those who actually don't have morals. Only what checkmate them is prosperity. What I mean by this, as far as those who have acquired public office in the past, we should be able to let the public know what they have done for the people through their office, not just how popular or public perception. So I think it's so important. If you ask me, my personal and humble opinion, Engineer Chris Azubog, said to say, has done tremendously well in the past 8 years or thereabout that he's in being House of Representatives. So we should rate everybody according to what have used their public office to do for your people in the past. I remember vividly that Uche Kunife was also once in the same bad Mbaduju's government, and nobody's bringing it up here. So I believe and I suggest that our past should also speak for us, so that those who are going to occupy government office tomorrow will be mindful that one day they will give account of what have performed in the office. So for me, Chris Azubog will do wonderfully well as a governor of Anambra State. Thank you.
All right. So can you give us 2 other people you think will do very well for Anambra? Apart from, because this discussion is now in the level of not just winning PDP ticket, but doing well for Anambra in a general election.
Yeah, there's no second position in the governorship of Anambra State. It must be one governor.
Okay, thank you. That's a very fair point. That's a very, very fair point. We thank you very much, Lawrence, for for your contribution. Sir Ike Doji, please. On this final topic we are discussing now, who do you think, not just picking PDP ticket, but have the capacity to win in the Anambra State governorship election?
Well, if the person that, hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you can only win an election when you have something to campaign with. If PDP should give Honorable Chris Emeka Azubog the ticket, the election is as good as over. The only thing we have to battle with is just the religious sentiment of Anambra State politics, which can be taken care of. But not just about winning the election. When you give that ticket, I want to bet you there will be no state in Nigeria, even Abuja will be learning where Anambra is. Anambra is going to be totally transformed. I am not saying it with any sentiment. If you give Chris Azubog the ticket, Anambra is going to be totally transformed.
Okay, thank you. Chibueze.
You didn't ask me for my second choice.
Okay. Well, someone already. Well, Lawrence have already said that it's only one person that will be governor, so that we shouldn't bother with second choice.
There was a point you made. You said that at this point, a cross-party divide.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Or was that what you said if I didn't get you? Maybe he
Yeah,
didn't get you.
Yeah, you're right. Because, not just PDP to get better, across winning capacity to win in a general election.
Yes, now. If I have said the capacity to win general, I've said Chris Azubog. And when you shift it to Abba, forget about this Soludo clamor. Okay, when you give it to Demi and Okoro, the election will be as good as over also.
Okay, thank you. We are talking of, okay, sorry, I think I didn't understand your question. We are talking of the people, the PDP aspirants we have today. Yeah.
If it is not PDP, Chris is going to win the election directly. Valentine Ozubo is another good choice. Another good choice. Not about the sentiment. It's another good choice.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, Chibeze.
Okay, first and foremost, all of them made good points. But first and foremost, Iyomi is my candidate. I've been yes. I've been in several meetings, and some people will say that Iyom has the capacity, she has the structure to win primary election, but Chris Azubog has the structure to win. Iyom has the structure to win general election, but Chris Azubog has the structure to win primary election. And then I'm saying, and honestly speaking, everywhere you go, it's either every Anambra people are saying Iyom, Tuche Kunife, or Chris Azubog. But me personally, I'm involved with youths. And I will tell you that if Iyom does not get that ticket, PDP is as good as good bye-bye.
Okay, well, Ike will disagree with you. Okay, thank you.
No, I'm telling you. No, wait now. You have to be fair now. Look, if Iyom does not get the ticket, it's either they make Iyom to head the campaign, or Iyom has to get the ticket, because there's no other person. I've been in this.
You have said that. So, all right, thank you. Chima, please. Chima. So, in your opinion now, of all these aspirants, who do you think will... okay, no, sorry. I said I will not ask you this question because you have a candidate. Okay, give us 3 names. Give us 3 names of people you think will pick the PDP nomination ticket. 3 persons. Are you able to meet your...
Thank you.
Chima. Go ahead.
So I think I will, in fairness, what I would rather do is to subtract 6 names from this 16. Any of the 10 can, maybe let me subtract 7 from the 16. Any of the 9 can offer good leadership to Anambra State and can win under the platform of PDP if they get the support of other aspirants. The only thing that will guarantee PDP winning in this election is free, fair, and credible primaries, so that the winner of the primary will find it easier to rally around his or her colleagues to support his or her aspirations. But if they do that with primaries again, and somebody wins it by conquest, then it will be difficult to keep the house together. Again, what I'm looking at is how they manage post-election crisis. Again, I hear something that looks like narcissism to me, that it's only one person that can win this for PDP. It's a lie. The only question you need to ask those people is, if it is not you, will you be able to support the person who emerge in a free, fair, and credible process? Or if it is not you, will you do anti-party? That is the question to ask.
Okay, thank you. So give us the names of 6 people you think. I didn't get what you said about that. Give us the names of the 6 people you think have the capacity to win the PDP nomination.
Chris Azubog, Valentine Ozubo, Neto Kunife, Chidi Onyemelukwe Ekweme, Dr. Winston Ude. Any of these people, if they secure the nomination of the party and secure the support of the party, they can win the elections. Where it will be difficult is after the primaries at Karabasa, then it will be difficult, it will be game over for PDP.
All right, thank you.
One of the advantages Apuga used to enjoy before now is about 70% of non-members of political parties. These are key key factor that determine Anambra election over the year, because about 30% of Anambra voters are members of political parties, from PDP, APC, APGA, and what have you. But this pool of about 70% are not members of political parties, whom APGA usually enjoy their support. Some of them are just traders, businessmen, workers that are not members of registered political party, but they are interested in political activity, who governs Anambra and what have you. So over the years, APGA used to enjoy this group for time now, but currently APGA is losing this group, and this group are searching for alternative. This number of group, APGA for the first time are losing this group, and PDP seems to be enjoying this group. These Anambrarians are looking at PDP as alternative platform for them to use. Now, can PDP sustain this goodwill? Yes. So far, if you notice, so far PDP from the process so far, they have maintained a kind of very peaceful arrangement or what have you. And even the issue of crisis, if you look at the party currently, you find out that for the first time, PDP usually dissolve their party structure ahead of every primary election, every general election, governorship election. This is the first time for more than 10 years that they stand not to dissolve the existing structure ahead of election. This is a new beginning for them. Again, if you talk about party crisis, APGA has very serious party crisis currently, about 3 different cases touching national.
All right, if you can please quickly, our time is going.
Okay, let me just submit. What I'm saying in essence is that party, as we speak now, PDP stand better chance to win the election. And on the issue of crisis, the party has, over the time, they have learned from previous crises that they are managing their crisis currently, managing the party well for them to go for election. And again, it looks like the party, the members of the party want to win election. Unlike before, unlike previously, the party members used to start searching for who to support in other parties. And again, because also Obiano is not going to be on the ballot. So APGA will open. It will be open game between PDP and APGA.
Okay,
and
thank
I believe they stand. But if you ask me, the election will be a kind of united front for the party. The aspirant that will emerge, which I believe I have interest in Chris Azubog, and I believe that he will be able to work with all the aspirants, work with all the members of the party, and harmonizing all the interests, and go as a united, for the party to go as a united front to go and win the election.
All right, well, thank you very much. Yes, any concluding thoughts?
Yes, my concluding thoughts is an appeal to the members of my party, the PDP. We saw what happened in Port Harcourt because I attended the Port Harcourt Convention in 2018. That guaranteed, because it was free, fair, and credible process, that guaranteed the stability of our party after the primaries. If PDP can do us a favor this time around, let them guarantee guarantee a basic primaries for everybody. If the process is free and fair enough, people who win will win fair and square, and people who lose will lose fair and square. And then when they lose, they now have a platform for them to talk to each other. Because if they are rigged out of the process, it is difficult for people to come back to ask them to support the winning aspirants. And again, I hear and see kind of desperation from some quarters that if it is not them, it couldn't be anybody. That is wrong. It should be discouraged. Anybody who secures the nomination in a free, fair, and credible process should be supported. And that is my appeal to the members of our party and the leaders of the party.
Thank you very much, Chima, for being with us tonight, and thank you very much for your submissions. To all our listeners who are here in this program, we thank you. Emeke Tiabasan, thank you very much for joining. Engineer Chris Azubago, thank you. Val Ozibo, thank you. Honorable Chuma Zeribe, thank you for joining. All those who contributed, Ebuka, Senator Ike, Saike, and thank you all very much for your submissions tonight. And I wish you all a very happy evening, and expect that you will be with us whenever we call such a meeting again.